Hi, I'm Ray.
And I'm John.
And we're going to be bringing you Marching in Montana for Montana Equality Now. Marching in Montana is our bi-monthly vlog bringing you your news from your community in your treasure state.
It has been a busy 2 weeks here at Montana Equality Now as we finalize preparations for the upcoming Activists and Advocates training, which will take place on February the 27th in the UC on the 3rd floor. We will cover a number of topics to further your understanding of what it means to be an activist and how to take a more active role in the issues that are important to you. Registration is free, but it costs about $15 per person, so donations are absolutely appreciated. Register at mtequalitynow.org. Earlier this month, Marching in Montana took us through the ins and outs of the equality movement in 2009 with a review of the most important legislation and events. Today, however, we are going to explore the treasure state with the Call 'em Out segment.
Call 'em Out brings you the must-know facts about the people, places, and institutions in your lives. Some grand, some gritty, all for you. Check out this week's focus where we're calling out Bryce Bennett, candidate for House District 92.
This is the first of segments in which we're going to be bringing to you companies, candidates, institutions, etc. That either support or are in opposition of the LGBT community. And so we're going to kind of outline what their policies are and how that relates back to you. I'm here with Bryce Bennett, colleague, friend, and current candidate for House District 92. So, Bryce, who are you?
Well, I'm a fifth-generation Montanan. I grew up in a small town in eastern Montana called Hysham. I've been living in Missoula for about 15 years now, working as a community organizer, progressive activist, working on everything from protecting our environment, renewable energy, to fighting for the rights of the GLBT community. So right now I'm running for the Montana House of Representatives in House District 92.
Nice. Are you a gay?
I am actually, yeah. What made you guess?
I don't know, it must have been the snappy shirt.
It always gives me away.
Yeah. So why are you involved in the equality movement?
I think that, outside of it being something that affects me personally, it's an issue that you look at so many other issues across the board and it's a little bit of gray area, but when it comes to this movement, it's black and white, it's right or wrong, and I think that we need to be on the right side of history, and that's where this movement is right now.
Very cool. Nice set of history. I love that campaign, by the way. Are you going to win?
I'm absolutely going to win. I'm knocking more doors, I'm raising more money, I'm going to get this thing done, and we're going to take this road show all the way to Helena.
Wonderful.
Here's my endorsement of Montana Equality Now.
My name's Bryce Bennett, and I approve this message.
I just wanted to quickly add that Montana Equality Now is a new group who has been really helpful to the movement. They've already put together a number of events across the city, and they're already reaching out to the policymakers and the people who make the big decisions in their effort to get a grassroots movement going for the GLBT community. So they're already doing the good work, and as they grow, I'm sure they'll do even more.
Thank you, Bryce Bennett, House District 92 candidate. I should mention for tax purposes that we are not endorsing Mr. Bennett, however.
No.
Personal friend and colleague, you know who I'm voting for. That's been our Call 'em Out for this segment. We hope you'll join us for the next one. As you all know, today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, commemorating the life and work of one of America's most respected civil rights activists. Martin Luther King Jr. is known for his leadership in the African American civil rights movement until his assassination on April the 4th, 1968.
The battle for civil rights continues today as we stand witness to the trial for Proposition 8 in California. Martin Luther King's wife and fellow activist Coretta Scott King explains the parallels. We have a lot more work to do in our common struggle against bigotry and discrimination, says Coretta. I say common struggle because I believe very strongly that all forms of bigotry and discrimination are equally wrong and should be opposed by right-thinking Americans everywhere. Freedom from discrimination based on sexual orientation is surely a fundamental human right in any great democracy, as much as freedom from racial, religious, gender, or ethnic discrimination. Like Martin Luther King Jr., I also feel that justice is indivisible and that it is just plain wrong to allow any discrimination against any minority.
She goes on to say, homophobia is like racism in that it seeks to dehumanize a large group of people, to deny their humanity, their dignity, and their personhood. In the words of the immortal Martin Luther King Jr., I can never be what I ought to be until you are allowed to be what you ought to be.
Lastly, for marching in Montana, for those of you who are living under a rock, the Proposition 8 trial is charging into its second week. Perry v. Schwarzenegger is a district court case challenging the constitutional validity of the proposition banning same-sex marriage in the Sunshine State. The proposition was supported by a majority of the California electorate in November of 2008. What's awesome about this case is that the council supporting same-sex marriage is comprised of conservative institution and former U.S. Solicitor General Ted Olson and David Boies. I keep saying boys. You don't like that? Okay. David Boies, trustee of the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. You may remember these guys from the U.S. Supreme Court case that decided the outcome of the 2000 election. A big gay tip of the pink hat to these constitutional powerhouses. We here at Montana Equality Now have been dripping over the details. I'm just dripping. Oh, God.
As we follow this case.
Dripping over Ted Olson. I never thought I'd say that.
Wow.
Okay. We here at Montana Equality Now have been drooling for details as we follow the case on Twitter. Big shout out to @AmerEqualRights and everybody who's been tweeting from the Prop 8 trial.
Mr. Olson defends equality in statements consistent with his conservative commitment.
Well, I think it's the right fight to battle. It's the right time to fight this battle. David and I agree that it isn't a liberal or conservative battle. It's an issue about American rights, American decency, American values, liberty, and equal treatment of individuals who are American citizens just like the rest of us. We think it's time that we recognize their right to equal treatment.
This has been Marching in Montana with our Call 'em Out and Steps Forward. We hope you'll join us for our next segment on February the 1st.